Hello Creative Tartanites and welcome to today's video. My name is Tanya and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook as Tartan Taz. I'm also on Twitter and things like that, but I don't tend to frequent Twitter as much. I'm not very good at it, I have to confess, but I do enjoy posting on Instagram. And I also have a small community that I have been building up over a long period of time. It's only a small community, but you're welcome to come along and join, where we post all our creativity and share a few laughs along the way. You will find a link to my Facebook group down in the description below. So, for all those who already know me, long time no speak. It has been a while and there's quite a lot to catch up on, so I hope it doesn't become this very lengthy and boring video, but I thought I'd switch the camera on and have a chat with you. It's probably going to be more of a chatty, but with a little bit of show and tell as well. So I think first things first, I really probably need to, well, apologise for being missing for so long. I haven't done a video in quite some time. In the interest of kind of being authentic, yada yada yada, I want to kind of tell you what's been going on, but what I don't want is for you to be worried or concerned about me in any way, shape or form. I'm absolutely fine. Let me preface things by just saying that I'm good. I'm not. There's nothing for you to worry about. It's been a while, but I took the decision to shut my shop, to shut down my website and things, because it got to the point where I was spending more money on keeping the website going and keeping my PO box going for absolutely no return whatsoever. I hadn't had a sale in over a year, and that's partly my fault. I'm not very good at keeping up with promoting myself all the time, and I also have a job as well, so it just became impractical for me to continue to go. So I no longer have my website, I no longer have my Etsy shop, I no longer have my shop on my website because the website's not there. So really, when I took that decision, I guess there was a little part of me that was kind of wondering whether or not I should continue to make videos. There was a little part of me that was a bit, I guess, disheartened, whilst I can appreciate that yes, it was my fault, but you know, I'm human, and so I had a few feelings about not having sales. And you know, as human beings, we do have a tendency to kind of start thinking, well, it's our fault, what's wrong with my stuff, nobody likes it, blah 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 blah. So there has been a little bit of that, but that's normal and expected. But I also recognise that it actually takes a lot of effort and a lot of time that requires to be put into things. And I probably just simply wasn't doing enough of the right things. And so I wasn't being seen by the right people. And yeah, so in a nutshell, I'm no longer a business. I haven't been a business for quite a few months now. Yeah, so moving forward, I would still like to be part of your community. I would still like for you to be a part of my community. I would still like to be able to share my creativity, share my enthusiasm, be there for other people and support other people. So that's why I decided that I would actually quite like to still do my creative videos, because it's something that I did actually enjoy. So I'd like to keep that going, and hopefully, with a bit of luck, I haven't completely messed things up with not posting for so long. I guess it's been kind of challenging because I've been someone who has painted a lot, and that was always the emphasis on my channel, was the painting side of things, because I was trying to do what was expected of me, and so I've just, as the videos say, niched down, and so I just concentrated on the painting. But there's more to me and my creativity than just the painting, and that's why I've transitioned to trying to showcase my eclectic nature, and all the different creative skills that I have learned or want to learn. Yeah, I'm probably rabbiting on and really boring you to tears right now, so perhaps it's time to kind of move on from that. I do have some creative things with me, and I have some creative plans that I would like to put to you, and perhaps you could tell me in the comments what kind of things you agree with and would really like to see, because I have been delving into quite a few different things in the last year, some of which I've shared with you on the channel. So you'll have already seen the dress that I'm wearing, for example. This is one that I actually made. So the things that I've been really getting a deep dive into have been spinning and weaving and sewing. I haven't done so much painting, but I've certainly been doing a lot of sewing and weaving. I've kind of lost my painting mojo a little bit. It will come back. I have absolutely no doubt it will come back. I am still an artist. I still consider myself to be a portrait painter. That doesn't change. I'm just not painting at the moment. And truth be known, I actually really should, because I do have a painting that I need to be getting on with. But I feel that the person deserves to have a decent painting and not just a forced painting, if that makes sense. I want them to enjoy the finished result. So I will get there. I will get to it. It's a must. I've not been able to do it for a whole various different heap of reasons. I've been unwell. I was unwell with COVID, and so yeah, there's been lots of kind of different things that have resulted in me not getting around to painting it, but I will. Yeah, that's something for the future. I brought up my basket of creative activities. So this has become my basket of creative activities. For those of you who already know me and have seen some of my previous podcasts, you will probably have seen these when they were just individual. So as you can see, I've started to put my quilt together. This has been ongoing for a year now. I've obviously had to cut out all the different hexagons, baste them. Now, as you can see, or hopefully you can see, I based mine by sewing. I didn't really get on with the gluing. I just found it awkward, and I was much quicker sewing them on. So that's taken me quite a while. I've still got quite a lot of hexagons to cut out and baste and things, but that is coming along nicely. It's starting to look like a quilt top now, so I'm really pleased. I've been able to take some of the paper hexagons out to allow me to then use them for the rest of the hexagons that I'm needing to get done. But yeah, the flowers are done, and so it's just a case of the filling, so to speak, and putting it all together. And I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that it's going to probably take me another year to actually get finished, but that's okay, because I've been really enjoying picking up and putting down my sewing. The other thing that, as I said earlier on, I've been doing has been weaving, and this particular cloth is actually, the weft is my hand spun. So I've hand spun the fibre on my drop spindle, which I'll show you later, and I've used cotton, shop bought cotton from Woolly Knits actually, they're cotton cones, to do the warp, because I figured that that would be a good strong warp to use with my hand spun. So this cloth is going to be made, this particular bit anyway, this small bit up to the red mark, because this is a longer bit of cloth, this is going to be made into a bag. So it's going to get sewn up the selvages, and I'm going to add a lining, and it's going to become a drawstring pouch for my dice. So many years ago I played role-playing games, and so I had a set of dice, and I kept the dice, and I've just thought it would be fun to use my hand-spun, hand-woven fabric to make a bag to keep them in. At the moment they're just kept in a little box, but I thought a nice wee bag, because I quite fancy playing again, and if I'm playing again I'd much rather have them in the bag, because the box, the lid falls off, and so the dice would just go everywhere. So that's what I'm doing with that. This is some knitting, because that's the other thing that I've been getting into, is my knitting. And I don't know if I showed you this before, but this is a bag that I've made myself. It's a little project bag, just big enough to put a wee sock project in. And this sock project is actually a test knit, and it's test knit for Roro and Kate's, and I'm a bit annoyed with myself because I've only gone and done it wrong. The idea behind a test knitter is that they knit up the pattern to make sure that it is correct, that the pattern is correct, and it knits up correctly. Well, that's no use to Kelly if I'm getting it wrong. So I don't know if you can see where I've got it wrong, but on the back here you might be able to see that it's kind of like an hourglass. And it's fine up until the point where I separate for the heel flap and gusset, but then when I started the pattern again, I've started at the wrong bit. I've picked up the wrong sheet of paper with the pattern on, and started on the wrong bit. So instead of having going from the wider down to the narrower, I've started at the narrow and up again, so I've got kind of two V's nestled in beside each other. It's not the fault of the pattern, it's my fault, it's my error, so please don't let that put you off when the pattern finally comes out. So I'm in two minds as to whether or not to actually change it, or whether to leave it like this and do my second sock exactly the same. So I don't know, maybe you could, what do you think? Because that's a lot of work gone into that. It's a lace, it's really nice, but it has taken me a while, and I'm not very good at doing something other than plain knitting. I ended up having to count and to say the pattern out loud. If I don't, I'm easily distracted and I end up doing the wrong thing. And even when I did that, I've obviously got distracted and done the wrong thing, because I've thought, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing, and I've picked up the wrong sheet and started on the wrong sheet for the second part of the pattern. Oh well, there's not a lot I can do about it now, to be fair, other than rip it back and start again, which I'm not really inclined to do. But how gorgeous is this wool? This is from Stuart something, I think. I think it's Stuart Yarns. I've got the label in the inside of my ball, stopping it from collapsing in on itself. And unfortunately, I don't think that she actually does it anymore. And it's called Elven Cloak. Now, I did put a picture on my Instagram of it when it was in its skein. And it's got a little bit of, I don't know if you can actually see that on camera, but there's a little bit of sparkle. So is it Stellina that's in it? And it is so soft. It's really, really a beautiful base. But I'd have to get, in fact, I'll maybe just pop it out just now and see what it says. 75% SW Merino, that's what it is. 15% nylon and 10% Stellina fingering weight. And as I said, I don't think Stuart Yarns are trading anymore, because I haven't seen her wool on her website for a long time. But yeah, I'm loving this wool. Really, really soft. Really enjoying knitting with it. So watch this space. In fact, the space to watch is actually Rowan Cades. So I will put a link for her channel in the description, and you can go and check it out for yourself. She also has a little knitting community on Discord, which I'm a member of. Yeah, it's always fun to catch up with like-minded people. So we've got my knitting. The other thing, as I said, was spinning. So this is a couple of spools from my spinning wheel. I have no idea what wool this is, because it came in a big scrap bag from World of Wool. So it was all different fibres that were in there. I think there was some like plant fibres as well as wool fibres. I think this is a wool fibre, though it feels like a wool fibre because it's got that kind of catchiness, whereas like artificial kind of plant fibres tend to be much smoother. This is, I'm pretty sure this is Shetland. Definitely wool. It's definitely got that scratchiness to it as well. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's got the little kind of white bits that kind of fall out of it. So yeah, this has been really fun to spin. Much more consistent, and I've been able to get it spun a lot thinner than any of the other fibres that I've spun. The other thing that I've got spun and washed and ready, skeined up to use, is this fibre. Now I love the colour of this fibre. It's actually pineapple. I think it's the leaves of pineapple. So this is an artificial one. And as a beginner, you're always told as a beginner not to use like you know, difficult fibres to spin with, but I'm very much a when you're a beginner, you don't know it's difficult. So if you don't know it's difficult and you just plow on and you just accept that, you know, beginning to spin means that you're not going to get consistent yarn, I don't see I don't see the need for every single beginner not to start at where they want to start, because if you don't know that it's hard, then I think that actually makes a difference. Because the moment somebody says to you, "Oh, it's really hard," then you start like panicking. And I mean, I suppose there's going to be people who naturally would rather learn something the easy level first before moving on, and I get that, and I'm not dissing it. I'm not saying that that's not the way to do it. I'm just not convinced that people should be necessarily telling beginners, "Oh, don't use that because it's really hard," because that already puts the fear into people. And so even when they learn on easier fabric, there's a tendency, not fabric, fibre even, there's going to be potentially a tendency to then get used to the easy fibre and be afraid of the more difficult stuff. Whereas I kind of just wing it and got stuck in with the difficult stuff. And don't get me wrong, there was points where I was like, "I'm never going to be able to learn this." But I persevered, and yeah, it's not consistent, but you know what? It's my yarn. It's not lumpy, bumpy like it potentially could have been. It may not be the same thickness throughout the whole skein, but it's definitely consistent in that it's not lumps and bumps. It kind of gradually goes a little bit thinner, then maybe goes a little bit thicker again. And I think it's very, very usable. I will either weave with it or I might knit with it. I don't know, because I guess it comes down to actually having a pattern and something that is going to be used. And you know, is it practical? Is it something that's going to be good as a hat? Or am I really just as well using it to weave some fabric? I don't know. It may just simply stay in my stash, and you know, years down the line I'll be like, "Oh, there's that yarn. I might actually use it for something." We will see. So we've got that. The other thing, I can't remember if I actually showed you it before or not, is my embroidery. If I have shown you it before, I haven't done anything since I last touched it. It's gone in my basket and that's been it. I haven't actually picked it up for no other reason other than I've just been busy with other things. But I really must get back to this. I think I probably picked up a little bit more on my my quilt, and that's probably made a difference in terms of not doing other things. So what else have I got in here that I can show you today? I don't know if I've showed you this or not before, but this is, again, it's more embroidery practice. And I haven't really done much else on it. I've got to a point where I'm kind of procrastinating on this part because I'm thinking, well, what colour do I use? Because I've got lots of colours. The other thing is, well, what stitching do I use? What do I like? What do I want to use? So yeah, that's what kind of stumps me sometimes, is that I've got too much choice, and I just don't know what to use. So that's kind of getting procrastinated on. What else have I got in here that I can show you now? So this is my drop spindle. I have only been using this for a very short, I've only been using this for a very short period of time. And the fabric I showed you earlier on, this one, this is the weft I was able to spin thinner using this, and I think that's why I enjoyed using this, because at the time I was spinning this up and I just found it easier on the drop spindle. And I had used Rolags that I had made. So the very first, in fact, I'll be right back because I'm going to show you the very first yarn I made. So this is the very first yarn that I made. As you can see, it's all lumpy and bumpy and really incredibly thick. And some of the reason for that is because I decided, I had been watching a lot of videos and I saw lots of people doing Rolags and blending it, and because I had, this isn't the bag that I bought, but this is a second bag of what they call scraps, I think, and I bought lots of it thinking, well, it's cheaper buying it that way and I won't feel so precious about it because it's scraps, and so therefore I won't be like, oh, I've got to get it right to be able to make a project from it. But Rolags with different fibres that act in different ways, not necessarily the easiest of things to deal with when you're learning to spin. But I did it anyway. I had a whole heap of fun, as well as a little bit of stress, but not stress that had a negative impact, just more how can I get this to work? But a little bit of practice, and it got a little bit better. So that's my plied ball, and that was the singles that I didn't ply, because I figured, well, I'll have the two different things and I can see what I can do with it. I mean, I think weaving for a start would be a really good thing to do with this. So yeah, that's yeah, the bin men are just going past the window. Don't know if the mic's picking it up or not. So there's the difference. That's much more consistent, less lumpy, and there's that. So yeah, I'm really enjoying doing that. So that's that. I think that's kind of everything that I wanted to show you in the basket. Let's pop this back in here, and we'll just pop this back on the ground. So yeah, I was showing my drop spindle. I bought this because I'd seen a few people using a drop spindle, and some of the drop spindles are they're just pretty, and I figured they're not that expensive, I want to get one. So I bought this. This is Fibre Hut. They do their own beginner's drop spindle, and it's basic, it's plain, but it's fine. I do have another one that I don't actually have to hand to show you, but maybe what I can do one time is to show you all my drop spindles. You know, if I get a collection of them, I can say, here's my drop spindles, and do a video like that. So it comes ready with a leader, and really you're just spinning, and that puts the twist in here. When you've got the fibre, you get the fibre onto the leader, and then the twist goes up into the fibre. You then undo it from here, and you put it on the shaft until it's a small bit, and then you do that again, and you twist, and you keep going. I am starting to keep my drop spindle suspended, but for a long time there I was, and I still do it, because I still get to the point where I'm not quick enough, or the fibre might be feeling a little stuck and I'm not actually getting it drafted, and so I end up spinning it, then placing it between my legs like here so that it's stable, and then using the two hands, so putting this bit between my legs, keeping it stable. I think some people might put it under their arms and then they draft out from there and let the spin go up into the drafted part of the fibre. And if you're not a spinner, you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but if you are, I'm sure if I've got anything wrong you can correct me. But yeah, it's really fun. I really enjoy it. So one of my favourite spinning channels to watch is the Soulful Spinner, and one of the things that she has done, which has inspired me to do it, is doing breed studies. So I have here a sheep breed study box. Now this is from the Wheel U. I will put a link in the description, and it's Sheep Breed Study Box 1. There's 200 grams worth of fibre in here, but it's all samples of different, so as you can see, it's all samples of different breeds in here. So just off the top here we've got Kent Romney, we've got Texel, we've got Shetland, we've got Perndale. So what I thought, and it comes with tags as well, so what the Soulful Spinner is doing is she's spinning it up on a drop spindle, and then she is knitting a square. So I thought that's a brilliant idea. So I'm going to spin up one of these. I'm going to try and do it one a week, but we'll see. We'll see how we get on with that. And I will randomly pick one, and then the one that I've picked up, so this is Kent Romney. I will look up what Kent Romney is, a little bit about it, so I'm learning a little something. I will spin it up on the drop spindle, and instead of knitting it, I think I might crochet squares, and then put the squares together to form either a small blanket or whatever, because this is box 1. There are another 2 different types. There are another 2 boxes. So this box has mostly kind of cream fleece, with the exception of these 2 by the looks of it. They're not as cream. That's kind of more of a grey, and that's a kind of more of a darker grey. But there are other boxes that there's a lot more like browns and greys and things. So yeah, that's the plan, and I'm planning to record it as well. So do like a little mini series. Of spinning. Oh yes, that was the other thought I had. I showed you this earlier on. This is, sorry about the crinkling, but this is some of the fibre that I have. You can see all sorts of different colours and tweeds and things in there. So I thought about blending on my blending board. So I'll show you my pardon me. I will show you my blending board. This is my blending board, and I thought about blending some fibres together to make art yarn. So I think I'm now at the point where I feel that I've got the hang of being reasonably consistent. I'm not exactly consistent, but consistent enough that what I don't want to happen is I don't want to get to the point where I can be consistent all the time and then find it difficult to do art yarn. So I quite fancy starting to do some blends and spinning up some art yarn, so things like coils and beehives and all that kind of lovely yummy goodness. Again, art yarns, there's all sorts of things that you can do with it. You can knit with it, you can crochet with it, you can weave with it. So yeah, I'm quite excited about that. I've seen people blending things like recycled sari silk as fibres, so that might be quite fun. I did buy some nicely brightly coloured locks to give a little bit of texture and things in an art yarn, but yeah, I haven't got like sparkly things to put in the art yarn or anything like that at this moment in time. So I don't know where I'm going to start. I suppose just at the beginning, really, isn't it? I need to just start. Otherwise I'm going to procrastinate and not get any of it done. I thought it might be fun to do a video of me blending my fibres on the blending board. Give me a shout out in the comments if that's the kind of thing that you'd quite like to see, because it would be fun. It would be really fun, and I do have lots of different fibres and things, so it would be fun to kind of share with you my thought process and how I actually go about choosing the colours and you know, how I blend on the blending board. I know I myself have watched a number of different videos where people have done different blends for different projects on their board. So yeah. What else have I got to show you? Oh yes. Another thing that I've been doing in terms of weaving is I bought myself an Inkle loom. It's an Inklet by Ashford, so it's a very small loom, but it's designed to make bands, to weave bands. So things like this. This is what it weaves. So this is my very first band. It's been done with 8-2 cotton. I've got the clips in here to stop it from coming undone at the end until I actually fix it. But yeah. So as I kind of go on, you maybe see that it's a little bit thicker here, and then I had posted up a photograph of it, and somebody had said I wasn't pulling the weft tight enough. So in fact, oh no, that's the wrong, this is where it gets thicker. You can see the jump. So they said I wasn't pulling the weft tight enough, so I started pulling it tighter, and that's my very first band. I confess I didn't actually completely go to the end. I got to the point where I was like, no, I want to take it off the loom now, I want to see what it looks like. So I took it off a little bit, only about this much earlier. Wasn't an awful lot earlier. But my plan is to do shoelaces. So yes, that should be fun. and I have a book of different patterns for the Inkle loom. So yeah, I mean, again, I could video some of it and put it up and let you see what I'm up to. If that's something that you think you might be interested in, let me know in the comments. I think that's it now. I did bring up one last thing to show you, so maybe I'll show you it. It's definitely the last thing. But I've made the Saturday skirt set. So there's a wraparound blouse with a nice collar. Beautiful fabric. I love this fabric, and it's really nice on as well. So you can either tie it here, or you can wrap it round and tie it at the back. I like it wrapped round and tied at the back. I think that way really kind of flatters my waist. And there's the skirt to go with it. It's a cracking pattern. It didn't take long to make up the skirt. The one thing I will say though is, don't be me, pay more attention to the sizes, because I've only gone and put the wrong length of elastic in the waist. I put the elastic, the size of the elastic that was meant to go around my arms, not the back of the waist, and it's just as well that the sizing that I picked was enough leeway that actually it doesn't matter, the skirt still put my teeth back and the skirt still fits me. So that's a bit of a moment, because otherwise I would have had to have unpicked it all and redone it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to wearing that skirt. So that's that. Yeah, this episode has been a bit bitty. I've probably waffled a lot more than I should. I haven't done this in so long. It's been nice to just catch up. If you have any questions, please by all means ask. Just pop the questions in the comments below. Maybe I might get enough that I can do a Q&A again. I quite enjoy doing Q&As. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to chatting with you again. Take care everybody. Don't forget, look after your mental well-being, because nobody else can. Bye for now.